the Toyota Lounge for the DNVR Avalanche podcast, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. We will be doing a mock draft today.
Yeah.
There's also a billion pieces of news, including the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup, Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe, and if you don't think he deserved it, you're wrong.
Well argued.
I'm not. I hashed it out on Twitter last night, and that's all I have to say at this
We have a
point.
whole show to get through tomorrow.
Right.
We can talk about that stuff.
A bunch of people were elected to the Hall of Fame. A bunch of trades were made. Lots of stuff happened that we'll talk about Wednesday, probably.
The Red Wings gearing up for a Stamkos Gensel free agent splash.
Why? I don't even. Has to be.
Yeah, we'll talk about this tomorrow.
Yep.
Honestly.
It'll be a tomorrow show thing. Today, we're drafting the first 24 picks.
Also, Casey Middlestat signed.
Whee!
So we'll talk about that tomorrow as well.
We'll get there.
I feel like thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
All
We're
the
good.
way. It's perfectly happy with it.
Cool. So we'll talk about it more in depth tomorrow, but initial reaction is thumbs up.
Today,
Sorry.
we're mocking the first 24 picks of the NHL Draft to see where things fall and what the Avs might end up with. Of course, we are mocking it, so we might be a little bit biased ourselves, but we've divided up all the teams. We're all going to make some picks based on what we think teams needs or wants or whatever it might be. I don't know. Do we need any more intro than that? I think we're good. With the first overall pick in the San Jose Sharks, Eric Lacroix is selecting.
Proudly selects. Then you got to give the French a little bit too, so you don't get yelled at. Okay, we all know it's Celebrini, right? No brainer, simple. I think we all agree.
Yep. No doubt.
One of those years where it's a consensus number one, right? So it's I like it when there's a little bit of drama. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any drama this year with that pick. Simple pick, fair pick. Great kid, great player. We'll play 15 years.
He really separated. There's been all of the question marks come at pick number 2, right? There have been 4 or 5, 6 guys that have all been, this guy could go second overall this year. It was always Celebrini at 1. So no real conversation on that one.
Yeah, I think there was a conversation at the start of the year. Good Lord. And then as the year happened, Celebrini
just ran away. Yeah.
Put so much distance between everybody else that if you try and talk yourself into picking something else, you're working too hard.
Yep. Agreed. First pick, easy one. A lot of people say the draft really starts at 2. For the Chicago Blackhawks, we can have Megan making the pick.
Chicago Blackhawks proudly select Caden Lindstrom.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Here for it.
It's specifically Chicago, I think, needs a bigger power forward prototype. I think that Kyle Davidson values skilled skaters, and I had some concerns around other players I could have taken it to. And I'm confident that Lindstrom is a complementary piece for the future with Connor Bedard in it.
Yeah, I have no qualms putting a power forward next to Connor Bedard and having him go score 1 million goals while Bedard does all the fancy stuff. Makes sense to me.
Well, and if you're 1-2 down the middle, if Lindstrom hits the way that you want him to, Lindstrom is a franchise caliber center. As you said, is a perfect complementary piece to what Connor Bedard does, and you're thinking about them in the postseason. You get everything that you want.
Yep.
That's a big, mean dude down the middle. And if it goes the way that it kind of has gone so far with Quentin Byfield, where you end up getting a top 6 wing out of it, you're a little disappointed, but you still have a really good player. And he's always going to be big, and he's always going to be physical. So
It would be a pretty tough sell to take him at 2 if you think he's a wing. I would put it that way.
If you think that that's what he becomes, you don't take him at 2.
Yeah.
He has to be a center. So as somebody who advocated for this pick, I love this.
Sick.
Yep. One of the many guys who have rotated in and out of the number 2 pick. I think probably him, one of the later risers into that spot, but totally justified. I have no problem with Chicago taking that guy. I think they would be happy to. Third overall pick. Or you have some,
no, I was just
go
going to
ahead.
say, I think this year, I think 1 to 10.
I think 2 to 10.
Yeah, but throw Macklin in there. Yeah, throw Macklin in there. Throw Macklin in there. Like 1 to 10. I think they might be interchangeable, but I think the top 10 will end up being top 10.
Just where does it go 6 or 8
Well,
or
like,
whatever?
for example, I had Lindstrom at 5. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
Montreal, whatever, okay? But she's got him at 2. Again, next weekend, it might go to 2. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I think teams will, from 1 to 10, they have them a little bit intertwined, and then after that, I think at 10, I think it really opens up. You know what I mean? So on my list, if we learned last week on what we were doing, then I scratched Lindstrom at 5, and then if I go to my next,
Yep.
we'll see what it does. We'll see.
See how it falls.
We'll see
Yep.
how it's gonna fall,
Yeah,
right? You know?
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right, number 3 pick, that would be the Anaheim Ducks, which is myself. And I am going to have the Anaheim Ducks proudly select Artem Levshinov. I know AJ would hate it, but I look at a couple things with Anaheim here. One, their D prospect pool is a little weird. They have Mintyukov in the NHL, which is great. A nice young piece for them. The rest of their D in the NHL is kind of whatever to me. They have Tristan Lunow, which I think is an interesting guy for them. They seem to really like him as a up-and-coming guy. They don't really know what they're doing with Drew Hellison. And after that, there's not a ton in their system that I really like as a defensive prospect, which leads into the Levshinov conversation. I get it. There's some level of boom or bust there, but I do think Anaheim as an organization has always recognized, maybe one of the first organizations to recognize, just draft a bunch of D-men and then trade them for stuff that you need.
Yep. It is.
Nashville did that for years.
I mean, I can't say it's worked for them because they
traded away a lot of good
lost
D-men.
most of those deals.
It's true. I don't
But
deny that.
in the moment, you're going for it. So you
Yeah.
make decisions. Just don't give away Shea Theodore at the expansion draft, you dumbasses.
Yeah, that was something.
Bad call.
Well, they were protecting Montour. Now looking back,
Anyway, I went with Levshinov. I couldn't quite justify Zeev at 3, so I had to go with Levshinov.
I'll back you up and I'll even show it to you. So
There you go. Levshinov at
Great.
3, right there on Eric's list.
So now I scratch him.
Okay. I have 4.
You do have 4.
I have
with
Columbus.
You know my 4.
I think this is just my concern with Columbus is always, is the guy going to want to play in Columbus?
Sure.
But just in this scenario, I kind of like that Lindstrom was the guy that I would have otherwise taken, because this has gone the way that it has. I get Ivan Demidov, and
do.
I
Not
am
bad.
happy with that.
Yeah.
I think Demidov's serious about playing in North America, and hopefully he doesn't mind playing for me in Columbus, because I want to put him next to Adam Fantilli and Johnny Gaudreau.
It's easy to project him as a high-level setup man. There's some young talent in that forward group.
Yeah.
If Demidov's
I can
at
see it.
4, yeah, I can't run to the podium fast enough if
Right.
I'm Columbus.
It's a steal.
I kind of want to watch Don Waddell run to the podium. Nothing against Don Waddell. I just want to see it. I think it'd be fun.
Number 5 is
I had him at 2.
Eric. Yeah, there you go.
See, this is where, Demidov, I scratch my list. This is where I tell you, your list is so crucial. So I'm going to make a monumental mistake here.
Oh, God. Here we go.
No.
No, I'm going to, but that's what I'm
Make
saying.
it in French.
On my list, if I go and I scratch everything, because I had Silyev at 4, Columbus. I told him that before. I do think he's going 4 to Columbus, but maybe that's not my preference. But that's why I said I'm going to make a mistake, because I'm not following my list. So now I won't follow my list because I don't want to take Silyev.
Yeah, you're the GM.
I'm
Take
just
who
showing
you
you.
want, man.
I'm being honest. Here it
Take
is.
who you want.
Here it is. But then I go down and I fall to Iginla. And I do believe Montreal would take Iginla. So that's what I'm going with. Even though I'm not following my rule number 1 of following my list.
It's Colfax time.
It is indeed Colfax time. My goodness.
Really intense Colfax time.
So the Montreal Canadiens are selecting T. Ginla.
Yes.
Okay. Here for it. I don't have Silyev in my top 10 for the record.
He fell out of mine.
Yeah.
I'm way more open to a Ginla than Silyev if I was Montreal.
Ginla was my 5.
Me, I'm saying is Columbus has taken Silyev. I'm not saying I would.
Yep.
So that's where my list got messed up. You know what I'm saying? What
I
I
got it.
want and what I think is going to happen.
Now
Yeah.
you got to
So
adjust
I
a little
think
bit.
Silyev
Yep.
goes to Columbus. But for this purpose, I adjusted my list.
At 6, I have the former Arizona Coyotes in Utah.
You have the Utahs.
I sure do. I don't know if they're going to turn over a new leaf and stop making mistakes or not.
Or bring in a new leaf in Mitch Marner. Just kidding. It's a rumor.
Wow.
That rumor was crazy.
It's crazy. I don't want to
That
give
was
that
so
legs.
perfectly transitioned. It felt set up. That was incredible. That was incredible.
Look, I'm looking at this Utah organization, and I am operating under the assumption that they are trusting the picks that they made last season.
It's the same group, so they have to.
And if you're trusting those picks, you have to believe in both Simashev and Lamoureux as guys that can get to the NHL and be effective defensemen for you. So you kind of have some of those boxes checked. This leads me into a forward that I want to take. And because of the way the board fell, Eric took a Ginla. I can't have him in Arizona. So I have to drop down to Berkeley Catton. For the Utahs.
Mistake.
I think it is a mistake, but that's what this organization does high in the draft, is that they make
Ruder
mistakes.
took this really serious.
Utahs. I had Kenton at 10. So, like I said, 1 to 10, I think they're interchangeable. I mean,
Yeah, he
2
was
to 10,
8
whatever.
for me, so it can't be
Yeah.
too critical of that.
I just don't I toyed with the idea of them taking Yzerman, but he's just fallen too much leading into the draft that I can't justify it. So that's where it ends up with Catton for me.
I have Ottawa. I have 7, right?
You do have 7.
All right. This has gone very well for me. So sorry. I'm getting
I was 1 away from getting a chance at this.
I'm getting daggers over there because I'm taking Zeev.
You are taking Zeev.
So I'm taking Zeev Bouillon. I think he's the shit, and the Senators need the shit on defense. So
Gosh.
Yep.
this has gone very well for me. As
Everything just falling to you in this draft.
I mean, I guess both of my picks so far is just get out of my own way.
Oh, hey, look, it's Demidov and Bouillon just happen to be
exactly.
there.
So I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. I think he's going to be a top pairing defenseman. It's very easy to pick him and project him.
Yep.
To be alongside Jake Sanderson long term, and maybe Thomas Chabot. I don't know, but a guy that can play on both sides. I'm good with Zeev. Give me Zeev. Sorry.
It's all right. I only pick next. So
8 is Megan with Seattle.
I targeted a need for a top-tier offensive talent or depth defenseman, and that is why I am proud to select Zane Perrick.
Sure.
Another really highly touted defender in this draft class, so can't be too beat up over it. I think the offensive upside that exists there is exciting, but I like that he is already such a confident player, and I think that can be a future piece to Seattle's decor that they definitely need to build upon. I think they have pieces there that exist right now and do the job, but I think they need to start building into it a little bit more.
They don't really have like Vince Dunn.
And
is
Adam,
fine.
it's like, yeah, it's not.
But like they don't have like an explosive offensive player.
Yep.
Perek gives them that. That's also an organization that screams Anton Silyev to me. If he were to get here, screams that guy.
Yeah.
Ron Francis couldn't make that pick fast enough.
Thankfully,
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
really Ron Francis.
Exactly.
Somebody chained Ron Francis to his chair so he couldn't make that pick.
This is why we're the GMs and not trying to pick who we think they will take.
Yep. But who we think makes sense for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. That is the first 8 picks of our mock draft. Other than Berkeley Catton, I think it's a pretty reasonable top 8. Even Berkeley Catton isn't that crazy. I just think that people should take defensemen more, which we're about to see a run on defensemen, I suspect. But wherever you're headed, make sure you're doing it in a Toyota. Go check out your local Toyota dealerships. Go get yourself one of the amazing vehicles that they have. Whatever it is that suits you, whether it be trucks, they have the Tundra, they have the all-new 2024 Tacoma. If you like SUVs, they've got the 4Runner, they've got the RAV4. If you like sedans, they've got the Prius, they've got the Corolla. There's a million other cars. They seriously have a dozen vehicles. Why is AJ blurred out?
Profane content.
They can do your ad read and AJ doesn't feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
Well, now I do.
17 different all-wheel drive vehicles when it comes to Toyota. Make sure you go get yourself one if you're enjoying the trails of Colorado. And when you do get a Toyota, make sure you get to your Front Range Toyota dealerships, including but not limited to AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota and Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche and the official vehicle of DNVR. And when it comes to big purchases in life like a Toyota, you got to make sure you're saving up and being responsible with your money. That's where Westera Credit Union comes into play. They've been here in Colorado for 90 years, and they're all about helping their members financially prosper. Their new Smart Money Checking allows you to get 6% annual percentage yield on your first $2,000 each month. That's $120 in savings per year. And then as your balance grows, so does your potential to unlock additional great rates for higher balances. They even have a rewards debit card. So if you like earning money by doing the things you're already doing with your checking account, visit westeracu.com/spartanmoney for details. Course membership eligibility required, insured by NCUA. Restrictions and conditions apply. Back to the mock draft. As we're 8 picks through, we're going to pick 24 in the Avs. So let's just keep it rolling here. At pick number 9, we're going back to Big E for doing the thing he did in real life with the Calgary Flames.
Wish I go back to my list and the big fella's still there. Silly, right? But I'm not doing it, like I said. So I'm going to go to and by the way, I scratched guys from 1 to 11. So my point of saying, 1 to 10 be interchangeable a little bit. Like I had
Pretty tight.
Perrick's
tight
at
in there,
11, Catton was at 10.
Yeah.
Then that, we're all pretty close to what we've been talking about, right?
Yep.
Anyway, I won't take Silly that's on my list. I'm just going to go down to the next one, which is Dickinson. So that's who I'm taking. Did I steal your pick?
Yeah.
Sorry. I apologize. See, that's the toughest part of the draft is your face like that. Like, oh my God, you can tell like, oh yeah, we got their guy, No, actually you're excited. You're like, we got our guy. But yeah, I mean, that's, again, I'm going right to the bottom of who's my highest guy not scratched. Dickinson's that guy.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I was definitely taking him at 10.
Calgary needs everything.
It's true.
Easy enough to just go, okay, that's next. Great.
It's a little... New Jersey was a little bit weird for me because I feel like they have a lot of things, a relatively young group in the NHL with a lot of good talent. On both ends, obviously, their top end on the forward core with Jack Hughes and all that is ridiculous. But then you have guys like Luke Hughes coming up on their defensive side, and I feel like they have a little bit of flexibility with this pick. So I'm just going to take the highest guy on my list here, which is Beckett Seneca.
Follows my lead.
Just taking the BPA.
I love it.
New Jersey gets to take a little bit of a swing on some high upside. They have the flexibility in their organization that they can afford to pick a guy they think could reach the highest heights, even if it is a little bit of a swing.
That's who they should draft, though, at that position.
Sure.
They should draft a guy that they think is going to be a monster for them.
Yep. I could have talked myself into a defenseman here, but I just don't like Silyev with them, and most of the tie-in defensemen are just win on that run right in front of them, basically.
I think we all agree Siljev's gonna be that guy that he slides all the way down, or he goes top 3, top 4, like we talked about.
Yeah, I think
And-
Siljev's gonna fall for us because we don't like him. But I think in the NHL draft,
He's not falling.
There's no sliding for that guy.
So if you look at my list again, like I'm saying, all the names that are scratched, and we're at 10. I got 11 names scratched because Silyev doesn't count. So
Yeah.
we're exactly what we've been saying. And I think that's how it's going to go down.
Buffalo, next on the list at 11, also myself picking for them. They were, again, a team that has a D core that is pretty young and pretty well-rounded in the NHL. I struggled with this pick a little bit, mostly because they have Matt Savoy in their organization. But I ultimately went with a guy that I feel pretty confident is going to go in this range and feels like a surefire NHLer, and that's Konsta Helenius. They don't really have a ton of center depth that I like organizationally when you start looking at their reserve list. I get Savoy is at the top of that, and he's someone who should graduate to the NHL soon. But you take a Helenius, you give them an option that can jump into their lineup and be effective for them on a perhaps shorter timeline, on a team that year in, year out is trying to make that next step. You feel like they solved their defense this year, add to their forward depth a little bit. That's all I got for Buffalo. They're going to miss the playoffs again next year, and we're all still going to be like, yep, it's still Buffalo.
Shit.
12 is the Philadelphia Flyers, who is, I don't know, I have to go look.
It's me.
Okay, there we go.
I'm just thinking.
So it's the draft starts to get a lot tougher right around this range.
Took the guy I wanted with the Wild.
I did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to get the next Koivu.
I don't see him getting past 12. I think Helenius is a top 12 guy.
Do I have a clock? Sorry.
We're supposed
Time
to,
out.
but
Yep.
Time out.
We'd
on
all
the
been so
floor.
much quicker with our
There you go.
picks.
You have 90 seconds now.
it's an organization that could you again. There isn't like a
Desperate
clear cut
need,
need
yeah.
where it's like,
Well,
we need this.
they kind of need everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to add center depth. And I
Get
think this
bodied.
is an organization that doesn't mind taking risks. I'm going to select Boisvert. Sasha Boisvert.
Very Flyer style player, for sure. Definitely a little bit of a reach at 12, though.
It's a huge reach.
Sasha Boisvert.
Boisvert. He's 24 on your board.
B-O-I-V. As in Victor.
There's an S in there.
Mainly because I wanted Yaya to have trouble spelling it. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Got him again.
B-O-I-S-V.
I need a board up for all this because these are just.
Do you not have our big board?
I have it up, I just couldn't find it.
He wasn't.
Because he's down there at 24. So one of my picks for the Avs has already gone off the board. Hate that for me.
Yeah. For the record, we're collectively making the Avs pick.
Yeah.
Not one of us trying to choose, and then the other three of us being mad.
Wow, I didn't realize he was still on the board. I undo my pick? No, I'm just kidding. You can't do that. You can't do that.
That'd be so sick if you could.
It's funny. It's a good question because once you put it in the computer,
It's done. Yeah.
oh, it's done. So they go like, and it's done from the table. There's one guy designated for it. Then he presses it. Then he gets the central registry. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's good. But you can't. Once it's in, it's in.
But no one in the NHL has ever had their pick stolen,
No takesy backsies.
No takesy backsies.
like in the NFL that one time.
Twice.
Did it happen twice?
It happened twice in a row to Minnesota.
That's
What, they
Two
picked the
years
wrong
in a
guy?
row. 2 years in a row, the Vikings failed to make their
They
pick.
didn't make their pick in time on the clock, so the next team just went.
Yeah. Next two teams, in fact.
And he still does their jobs.
I doubt it.
Yeah, they did, and they did the same thing the next year. Anyway.
AJ, you have Minnesota at 13. Pick someone you love because Minnesota always takes someone you love.
Yeah, so at this point, and with Minnesota being Minnesota, again, I'm just letting the draft come to me. I'm taking Anton Silyev.
I wanted him to fall 2 more. I was taking him with St. Louis for sure.
This, to me, I think is just like, okay, this makes sense. This is easy.
Yep.
He's huge. He could pay off huge for me. He can be besties with Kaprizov and convince him to stay there long term on his next deal. Great. This sounds good. Anton Silyev is a wild.
Yeah. No arguments there. Once you get into that team range, there's no way Silyev can fall much further than that. Just the reality of the draft. One rival to another. Megan, you are picking for the Detroit Red Wings.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, we need 14.
Did I miss the San Jose pick?
Yeah,
My
the
bad.
San Jose
No,
My
pick.
bad.
it's okay. I'll pick first.
Eric failed to get to the podium quick enough. No, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. Well, if I follow my list, I think they'll be more than happy to select an NTDP Cole Yzerman because I don't think he passes 12, but I do believe if he's there at 14, San Jose takes him. Line mates with Celebrini at Shattuck.
Yep.
BU. I mean, obviously, I don't know.
They're best
Macklin.
friends.
Yeah, I mean, Macklin comes back next year at BU, maybe, who knows, but obviously Yzerman's coming. So I think it just makes sense. Mike Greer, BU. Plus, you can't leave that many freaking goals on the board. You know, you just can't. So I do believe he doesn't pass 14, so it's exactly how this is describing to me.
Great. Cole Yzerman at 14. So you have Celebrini and Yzerman. The Sharks have had a good draft.
It's fun.
We have to
BU.
leave Mike Greer alone for a day.
Go BU.
All right. With Yzerman off the board, Yzerman not going to Detroit, that seems good. I'm okay with that.
God, that'd be confusing.
That would have been weird. It's spelled the wrong way.
That would have been funny. And I would have picked him.
Dodge that bullet. You do have to make another pick now, though, Megan.
All right. I will select
Sounded so
Carter
threatening.
Yakimchuk. I think that their depth on the right side for their D gets a little thin after Simon Edvinsson. So I think that they'd like to add a big, mean defender to their pipeline.
Yep.
That's exactly what I had next. So
All right. So Yakimchuk onto that Detroit blue line. He's not Swedish, so I don't know if I believe it, but Detroit, I don't know. Detroit's such a weird team. We'll talk about them tomorrow based on what they did today.
Sorry,
Gritty.
it's Pelika, not Edvinsson. That was my bad. Same difference.
I don't like the gritty Detroit. That's why.
Next pickup is the St. Louis Blues at 16, which is myself. This pick was a weird one for me. I was interested in Yakimchuk as well, just because I think the St. Louis defense is going to nuclear explode over the next 3 years and scatter to the winds. But with him off the board, I look at what's left on our board. I look at the St. Louis style of player, and I'm left with Liam Greentree.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to take Brantzig Nygaard.
I thought about it, but I think he's a little too small for St. Louis.
Okay.
I think Greentree has the size that they really like to see in their forward prospects. How much of that physicality does he actually use on any given day? Sure. But St. Louis has never shied away from those bigger style guys that they feel like they can teach them how to use their bodies effectively. And Greentree provides them an all-around forward that can continue to keep them in the Calgary zone. So that's St. Louis.
So I mean,
we could. I guess we don't really have time to fit one more in here. Let's just go on. Move forward here. If you are trying to effectively pick an NHL roster player, you might have to do it the Patrick Waugh style. When you're making a bet, when you're making a gamble in the NHL,
Got to put your balls on the table.
And when you put your balls on the table, make sure they're looking good with Manscaped. Go get yourself some Manscaped at manscaped.com. Use code AVS to get 20% off and free shipping even on their new Performance Package 5.0. Comes with their new 5.0 lawnmower trimmer, bunch of other products as well, whether it be toner, deodorant, you name it. Manscaped has you covered head to toe for taking care of your hairy body. We know your hairy body is hairy. It's okay. That's why you get Manscaped.
Hairy Daddos.
Make it less hairy. Again, go over to manscaped.com today. Use that AVS code to get 20% off and free shipping for Smooth Sack Summer. Go get with them. We love them over here. And once you're all shaved up and feeling aerodynamic, make sure you're taking care of yourself on the inside too, with the mental side of things and BetterHelp. You can go get with BetterHelp today. You can do it entirely online. It's super quick and easy. It's one of the biggest selling points. You don't have to wait for months to go see a therapist or whatever it is you might be looking for. If you're thinking of starting it, BetterHelp is the way to go. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if you want to change therapists, you can do so at any time for no additional charge. So they just want to make life super easy for you. It gives you the opportunity to have those conversations, to talk things out a little bit with a therapist for yourself. And, you know, it's BetterHelp, literally. Not that complicated. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/DNVR today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DNVR. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche Mock Draft. On to pick number 17, which is the Washington Capitals. And I don't remember who has them.
I do.
There you go, AJ.
I'm taking Igor Chernyshov.
I thought about taking him as St. Louis, too.
They love Russians. He's Russian.
Yeah.
He's a good two-way player, and I like him a little bit more than Brandsic Nygaard.
Would you take Chernisov?
Yeah.
Yep. That is the least surprising Capitals pick.
Yeah, makes sense.
That was one where I felt like my like of the player and how the organization I'm picking for met nicely at a midway point. Right at Igor Chernyshov.
Okay. Fair enough. Moving on to the 18th pick, which I don't know who has. Oh, it's Megan has both Chicagos, right?
Yeah.
That's how that
Yes.
works? Okay, cool. So, Megan, you are back on the clock for Chicago.
All right.
Always interesting having two picks in the first round.
Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to try and double up on a position?
Right.
Do you want to spread it
Right.
out?
Yep.
I'll put the clock down.
They have already Caden Lindstrom by our mock draft.
Yeah.
So
They have Caden
I
Lindstrom. They've
really
got a,
wanted to get them a right-handed defender. I can't help myself. EJ Emery.
going aggressive with the defensive D at 18. Again, having two picks in the first round, not uncommon to see teams go one forward, one D. So,
Because I was torn between a forward. I think Brandsic Nygaard makes sense for what Chicago would want.
yep,
But Lindstrom kind of already dabbled in that.
does some of the same things for sure. All right. Emery on the board for Chicago. 19 is Vegas. I'm assuming is Eric.
It's me.
It's you.
I'm going. Well, it's you.
Yeah, it's me.
All right, Mr. Vegas man.
Okay. Megan threw me a curveball. I really didn't think Brandsic Nygaard was going to get here.
Dude,
and
just everything just keeps falling to you.
He
in this
was my
draft.
14.
fits so nicely in Vegas.
Yep.
But I've kind of mentally penciled this in as this being my Trevor Connolly spot.
Sure.
Somebody had to do it.
Well, and like, who better to take the villain than the villain?
Yeah.
Kind of thing is kind of my approach here.
Math adds up.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna take Trevor Connolly, and as the Vegas GM, I'm gonna shoot my shot and try and get a player that otherwise would not be here.
Yep.
If not for it, just purely as a hockey player, should not be available at the 19th pick in a draft class. So that kind of electric talent that he has
Yep.
could be a high-end guy for them on an ELC pretty quickly, 2 years from now. And what better way to try and circumvent the cap than with ELCs?
That's not even really circumventing the cap.
I mean, it allows them the other.
Yes.
It allows
The
them
other.
more room elsewhere to get creative. So I think Connolly is my guy for Vegas.
Happy with it. As much as I don't know that I'd take him, he definitely should go in this range. Like, honestly, he's probably at the back half of where he should have gone in this range. So at a certain point, the talent is just too much.
Yeah.
Not that complicated. Sometimes the draft is easy. Sometimes the draft is really, really hard. But, I don't have to do it for a living. So I'm sure Eric will tell you, all those scouts, it's really hard. Put it to you that way.
And the worst part is you got to wait about 5 years to know if you were right.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It seems like after 3, you'd be like, just keep waiting. If it's not going well, you're like, just...
You're good. Got
just,
time.
He's 21. It's fine.
It can be a lengthy 5 years.
Yeah.
Next up at 20 is the New York Islanders, which is myself. I thought to myself, what could I take as the most boring player in this draft that's remaining? What makes sense for a Lou Lamoriello and Patrick Waugh style organization? I decided to go defense here and take an Adam Juracek.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
It's not the defender I thought you would have taken.
Nope.
Okay.
This is conditionally assuming that he's healthy and, the knee isn't a problem.
Yeah.
But stylistically, I look at what Patrick Waugh likes in an NHL defenseman. Probably likes a little bit more offense than Juracek brings you. But I look at Lou Lamoriello, and I think Juracek would fit in as a more physical style New York Islanders, soul-crushingly boring hockey. Just seal you and shut you out forever.
I mean, they didn't totally play that way under Waugh, but
They opened it up a little bit, but it wasn't.
it was not. It was way better than under Lane Lambert. Those games ended up accidentally exciting.
A race to 2 while the rest of the league is a race to 4.
Yeah.
22, 21. Yeah, 21 is the LA Kings.
It's back to me.
Take it.
He's still there.
I know who you're taking.
I'm really torn between Brantzik Nygaard and Stein Solberg. They could really use a guy with Solberg's physicality and enough offensive upside that you could buy into it. But I think Brantzik Nygaard is just such a solid, good all-around player with a reasonable amount of confidence that he's going to make the NHL. So I'm going to take Brantzik Nygaard for the Kings.
All right. I am sad, but I think he's a good pick.
I shouldn't have taken him so we could try and get him to the Avs.
He wouldn't have made it through Nashville.
Yeah, I was going to say, Barry Trotz will take one look at that guy and go, yep, that guy. At 22 is Nashville with Megan, so.
I will pick Stein Solberg.
Okay.
Sometimes you just got to let it come to you.
There's a part of me that wanted Stolberg to go to the Avs, not because I think he's a good fit for Colorado, but because of my Ehlers trade the other day. You get the Dane, you get the Norwegian. You've already got Sweden and Finland covered.
The Euro World
Hell
Tour.
yeah, you're building the United Nations.
Yeah.
No more team male model, Team United Nations.
I'm here for it. I'm here for this change. All right. Next up is the 23rd pick I don't even know who picks 23rd. I'm not going to
Toronto.
lie to you. Oh, it's Toronto. That's a Leafs logo?
Barely.
Okay. That's Eric's pick.
I'm going to go with the Jetmeister.
Oh, come on, bro.
Oh, fuck off.
Did I steal?
I mean,
I'm going by my list. I got to go what's next. Best available. You can't make mistakes that way. I worked hard on my list. Years with an S.
I'm just mad from an Avs perspective.
Yeah.
This would hurt.
Sorry.
To go back-to-back years, you miss out on Musty last year, and then you miss out on Luchenko this year.
So Luchenko, center, right? OHL. I think it's competitive. Berube, Treliving. I'm sticking to it. Falls into my list. So, and I'm pissing you guys off, so I love it.
I will say, I do think that's a little on the high side for Luchenko.
I think he's going to go. My biggest fear is he ends up in Chicago at 18. Because you put Luchenko and Oliver Moore, who they took in that same range last year. You put skaters like that all over the ice for them.
Yeah.
They're going to be a speed skating
Just
team.
buzzing around, yeah.
Those dudes scare the shit out of me if they start drafting like that.
This leads us to the Colorado Avalanche at 24, which we are going to all pick together. Before we dive into some of these picks, I did want to touch on our official big board here. Everyone has been taken on our big board. The earliest guy available would be our ranked 19 in Michael Haig. You have Tarek Parasek at 20. And then you drop down to 25 at Charlie Ellick would be the next highest available on our draft big board. I'm not saying that those are necessarily the guys we're going to take, but those are what's available through 23 picks on our big board.
Would just like to say, as the one who curated that big board, it was not necessarily done
Ordered.
with the intention of it being our official big board. They asked me for a list. I gave them a list, and then they put numbers on them later. And I was like, oh,
Worked
Well,
out pretty reasonably.
that's our big board, I guess. So I'm just saying. We have some really good options still sitting here
Yep.
that I think we could have a pretty good discussion about who we like. Eric, you've talked the entire show about your list. Who's next on it?
Again, I always say if you're prepared, usually it will come to you. And I look at my list right now. The next guy it's Haig. I mean,
Yeah.
H-A-G, whatever. Is that the right way to say it?
Hage.
Haig. Hage.
Hage.
There's no U, so it's Hage, right?
Yeah, it's H.
Yeah. So I'm looking at my list. It falls right into that. So I think it will be pretty close to this list right here when it comes to the real pick for the Avs.
Yeah.
I think there's a very strong possibility that it ends up.
Let's talk through some of these options. Do we have a thing to do first?
In 1 minute. Yeah.
Then
Can't do it early?
We're going to
Alright.
pause.
Let's
Let's
just be
just wait.
dead silent for for the next minute. I'm not taking Surin 24th. I know that there's
No.
this weird
taking who?
Igor Surin. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, he's not on my list.
Yeah.
So
The defenders have been pretty cleaned out here, where the next guys that we would really have to talk about, Charlie Ellick, Cole Hudson, Kiwi Hardiu, and my guy Dominic Badinka.
I mean, if I'm
Would all
taking
be
a,
in here.
if I'm taking a D, Ellick would be my guy there. I just
Alphonse Frey.
don't think that Ellick has a high enough ceiling to justify taking at 24.
I just my struggle here is that I just think all the forwards that are sitting here are better than the defenders.
I agree.
That's my issue. All of the defenders are outside of like even the next several picks that I have
Yeah.
in my mock board. The defenders are several down.
Exactly. Like, even if the Avs were to trade down to 30, that's when I'm talking about maybe taking one of these defenders. But at 24, I'm not interested in.
Yep.
I
You're
just
just not
don't,
getting enough value there.
Yeah. Like, I really like Badinka, and I think that he's really underrated. I still am not really pounding the table here. I like Hage quite a bit. And so for him to get to us, I think is a win. I think that's a good thing for us. Jeez, Megan.
All right.
Dismantling the microphone.
I don't like Hague, but we'll talk about that in a second. We are brought to you by Red Hawk Roofing. Make sure your roof is in good condition. I actually got my roof fixed up today.
Nice.
Obviously, there's a whole process. We set this up months ago, but got my roof fixed up today by them. They're super awesome. They'll come out. They'll take care of you. Even if you're not sure what's going on with your roof, completely free for them to come out and give you an inspection. They'll get up on your roof. They'll take pictures. They'll let you know what's going on up there. So you might as well do that because it costs you nothing. But if you're not going to do just that, make sure you get with them to get your roof all fixed up if something is wrong with it. Of course, middle of hail season, this current weather in Denver is 95 or hailing. Those are your two options, at least where I live out east.
Dude.
So go get with them. They're available 24/7, so they have emergency services as well. If you want to get with them that way, you can get a hold of them at redhawkroofing.com, or you can give them a call today over at, oh God, I lost their phone number. Hang on. Go call Red Hawk Roofing today over at 720-771-8921 and let them know DNVR set you over there. There you go. Crazy eagle sounds. I guess it's a hawk sound, right? Yeah. I don't know what birds sound like. Like, you could tell me that was a hawk and I'd just believe you.
So that actually, the eagle sound you hear in movies is a hawk sound, because the eagle sound is
Yeah, the eagle sound is terrible. Yeah.
Okay. The more you know. Also brought to you by Circa Resort and Casinos. Make sure you go get a part of these guys. We're going to be over there for the NHL Draft. Some of us are going to be hanging out over at Circa, having a grand old time in Vegas.
It sounds like we're going to be outside.
Yeah, well, we'll drink a lot of water. It'll be fine.
We're the only people at Stadium Swim not allowed to swim. I don't know. I guess we could.
Yeah, you could. I did it when I was out there.
Yeah, you didn't do it on air, though, did you?
I'm not a talent.
Go check out that Stadium Swim, a 90-foot television. You can watch the NHL Draft with us. You can also get 20% off your stay at Circa anytime when you use code DNVR20 over at circasports.com. Tons of amazing amenities there. A 7,000 square foot casino, over 500 rooms with a variety of layouts. Experience that Stadium Swim and go watch your favorite teams at Circa Resorts and Casinos with that DNVR20 code to get 20% off. Final period. So AJ seems happy with Hage. I don't love Hage.
Well, the next guy on our list is an absolute not. I will fight everybody if that.
Oh,
we're
yeah,
gonna
no,
talk about
absolutely
Tarek
not.
Parasak is a no.
I have zero interest in drafting him.
That's a hard no. He's not in my top 50.
Fair. Over here, where are we sitting? What's our number one go-to for this Avs pick right now?
I like Hage.
Okay, so I'm going to get overruled. Unless Eric hates Hage.
Follow my list. That's who's up.
Who's next on this list?
On my list,
Yeah.
H.
No,
No,
who's
after Hage.
next?
That's where it gets wild for me a little bit.
Okay.
I got Cole Hudson. I'm father with my terriers.
It's biased sourcing.
Yeah.
But
Should have known.
I'm just saying, you're talking about 25. I think he falls in the first round. So I didn't know where to put him, so I put him there.
All right. I mean,
I'm just saying. So he goes Haig, Hudson, or is it Hemming?
oh, you have Emil Hemming
Yeah.
after that? It's not fair to Emil Hemming that I'm nervous about him because of Oscar Olausson.
He is
But don't
not
think
him.
that it's
Yeah.
not a real feeling, because it is.
Yeah, the similarities there make me nervous enough, and it's not gone so well for Oscar Olausson that I'm like, yeah, let's do this again. And honestly, it makes me more nervous on draft day, them having liked him, that I'm like, oh no. Because he's one of my guys that I'm just like, on draft day, I'd be real bummed about that.
Yep.
Which means, of course, he'd have a great D+1, and he'll probably be awesome.
The Cal
But-
Ritchie route.
Chad asked about Nikita Artemonov. He's not for me.
Same. Look, unless you're reaching, you think you probably have to go with Hage here, as much as he's not my favorite. If you're reaching, Andrew Basha's not that
Basha
far
was
of a
mine
reach.
behind Hage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Basha and Teddy Stiga are guys that we have talked up a lot on
Basha and Stigo.
our
Shows in
on our
general.
show, and
yeah.
if I was making a big board in all seriousness and actually ranking them,
Yeah.
Stiga would have been higher than he is. I think we have him at like 41.
He's pretty far down.
I would have him at like 35-ish.
I got him at 33.
Yeah.
First pick of the second day.
So, I really like Teddy Stiga. I really worry about the size, and I worry you're taking an undersized wing with questions about his offensive upside. Like, at 24, what are we talking about here? You know, like I guess I just don't love I just don't think he's good enough for that.
I mean, I had
Stiga?
Basha.
Yeah.
Are you in the same boat with Basha?
No, with Basha, I think Basha's a little more naturally gifted, and the skating obviously is a separator, puts him into the Avalanche, the
Style,
Avalanche ecosystem
yeah.
a little more easily. Like if they take Andrew Basha, and we go to Dev Camp next week, and Basha's there, we're all gonna love him.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna skate
Just
fast, and they're not
destroy
gonna have to
skating
do hockey
drills.
things.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're not gonna ask him. They're not gonna ask him to shoot in a competitive environment, which
Yep.
is gonna be his biggest weakness.
Yep.
But Basha is a guy. His speed plays. He's gonna be good defensively because he's played a checking role his entire WHL career. He's been an all situations guy for them. The question is I like him offensively. He gets to the middle of the ice. I think he's a really good fit for everything that they do. Other than I don't think he can shoot. I don't think he's going to be able to score goals at an NHL level unless he is right in front of the net. Am I describing Arturi Lehkonen on accident?
You might be.
Shit.
A responsible defensive player.
Yeah.
Drives to the net.
Yeah.
Probably a better skater than Lecky, but
He is.
going to be a little bit less physical too.
So the thing about
He's
Basha,
not. He's willing to get in there. He just doesn't quite has the size to.
but he's really good on the wall. He's really good at digging pucks. He's really good with that stick. I
agree.
really like that aspect as a cycle player. He's wonderful in transition already. God damn it, I've talked myself
Let's
into
go.
this.
Let's go.
I actually did have Basha ahead of Hage
Let's go.
in my list. It was 22-23.
I'm in on Basha.
I got Basha 3 more down, so he's right there.
So with Hage,
I'm just saying he's within that range,
Hage, I think, is the conversation. He's a much better all-around offensive player. Every aspect of it is better.
If you are betting on purely upside, it's no contest. You're taking Hage.
Where's he going, North Dakota?
Even as someone I don't love him, yeah, I think it's North
Hage,
Dakota.
yes.
Yeah.
No, Hage is going to Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
Oh, he's the Michigan kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, Lecky doesn't have a decent shot. You lying to yourself,
Like he
friend.
has a bad shot.
Yeah.
Like
All
I
of
could
his
take my
goals are
goalie glove
tips
off
and
and
rebounds,
stop it.
and he rarely ever scores shots where he straight beats a goaltender, which is why a Stanley Cup winning goal is such a weird thing to have on his resume.
Look, he has a great shot when he's firing that thing into the open net because Mikko made a disgusting pass cross ice. All right.
Yeah, like Lecky is. Let's go back and watch all of Lecky's goals. You're not going to see very many of him just straight up beating a goalie cleanly.
His best goal is probably his cup-winning goal, and it's only as good as it is because that puck is rolling.
Yeah, and Vasilevsky had no idea
Yep.
how to read that puck. Anyway, yeah, with Basha, he's such a good fit for the Avs, but again, I think he's limited. And that makes me nervous.
I do think the ceiling's higher for Hage, and
Yeah.
I think both profile NHL upside in a depth role at first. That with Hage, though, I think it could be greater than that, more middle six.
And with Hage, you're talking. This is a good point that if they don't hit the ceiling, they're both going to they could both still be in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
But with Hage, you're talking about a guy that has pace issues, who has some consistency problems, who has some engagement issues. Those
Typical
are all
big guy stuff.
Those are all things
Yeah.
that make me nervous.
Yep.
But the guy was lights out offensively. Once he got healthy, got into the groove, and just started kicking the shit out of the USHL. He was very explosive down the end, towards the end of the year, and was dominating games. You go and watch shift by shifts of this guy, and you see him. He just takes over games.
He can.
And
I don't know that he can do it consistently.
no,
but
he can't. I don't think he will ever do it consistently, because if he could, he'd be a top 10 pick.
Sure.
But he's got good size, and I really do. I like the upside there. But if we're talking about abs, which we are.
Are we?
Yeah.
Bosch is a better fit. Should you draft a fit? Maybe not.
Yeah, Basha's the better fit. Hage, I think, is the better player today.
And a center.
And what?
A center.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I'm going to lose this fight, but I don't care who the better player today is. I care who the better player is 3 years from now, 5 years from now.
That's why they'll take best player available. So
I think it should be Hage.
I think it should be Basha, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose the fight, so I'm cool with it.
Eric's list says Hage. I say Hage. He says Basha. You're stuck.
I say Hage.
There you
and
go.
Bosch is right there too. So that's what I'm saying.
Team says Hage. We're going Hage.
How much time we got?
3.5 more minutes.
Crushed it.
Good timing. Good timing. So there you go. There's the DNVR 2024 mock draft through pick 24. It's going to be interesting. We had one real riser in Boisvert.
I'm sorry. I have regrets over that. I just wasn't.
I don't. I think he makes. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a reach, but he makes total sense.
Honestly,
as a
I think
flyer.
Boisvert is closer to where he's going to get taken than Emery. That's the only one that I'm
I
like.
started to get a little carried away because there were no stakes. You know, I didn't have
Of
anything
course.
to lose.
Well, the thing is though, like it might not end up being Boisvert and Emery, but I guarantee you there will be multiple reaches in this first round come draft day.
Yeah.
Post 10, yeah.
So there's always a couple teams that say this is our guy. We have him in our top 10, and nobody else does, and we're taking him.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, we're seriously about to watch Anton Siliev go in the top 5.
Yeah.
I really hope he doesn't go top 5, but
And
he's going to go higher than he did in this draft.
If I wasn't sitting around and feeling like we just have to take him, it's going to look horrible for our mock draft if this guy gets to 19 or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have taken him at Minnesota. I would have taken Iserman.
I'd have taken him at St. Louis at the absolute latest.
So-
Like, there's no way he's getting past 16.
He's not.
Oh, seriously, he wouldn't have gotten. I mean,
Is that where
yeah.
he went in R16?
That's where St. Louis went with...
No, he went 13. And I took him with Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Okay.
Yeah.
He went before. I took Green Tree with St. Louis. Yeah, that's right. I remember now.
I don't get Liam Greentree's one of these guys. I don't get why people are like down on him. I understand that his skating is not great. I don't like him for the abs, but he's a really good hockey player. He does everything well at like a high level.
I think that's the problem. Is he's one of those guys that falls into he does everything well, but he doesn't do anything truly elite.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
People get scared of that because they wonder
Yeah.
how that type of play
Yeah,
transitions
how does it
to
translate?
the next level.
For
Yeah.
sure. You have to be a really, really smart player. We talked about this with Shane Bowers all the time. What does he do?
Yep.
How does he get there? What does he do that you look at and you say, this is where he's going to be successful in the NHL? And that's why when we're looking at Basha versus Hage, I'm like, I think I have more confidence that Basha becomes an NHLer than I do Hage.
Yep.
But if they're both going to top out, I
Hage will
think
be better. Yeah.
I think Hage could be quite a bit better.
Yep. The ceiling is definitively high there. The concerns for me just are a little bit too much. It scares me away a little bit.
And the fit in Colorado is absolutely like it is fair to wonder about a guy with pace problems versus a guy that definitely doesn't have pace problems in Basha.
Anything but pace problems
Yeah.
there.
And at 24, I know we got to get out of here in a sec, but like at 24, we are going to be talking. This is going to happen on draft day. We're going to be talking through a list of like.
Yep.
There's going to be a guy that you and I love that we're going to be losing our shit on the
Sitting
live
around
show.
at 22.
Yeah, and we're gonna be freaking out. It probably won't be as fun as Lusty for Musty was last year, but and let's be real, even had he gotten there, they would have taken Richie.
Yeah.
Which would have hurt more. But it is going to be a balancing of what does this guy do well and how does he fit in the Avs.
Yep. We do have to get out of here.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
I have other thoughts, but we can talk about this Wednesday and Thursday. So
Probably Thursday. It's just the two of us.
Yep. We do appreciate
Nerd
y'all
out on draft stuff.
hanging out. Hope y'all enjoyed the mock draft. We will be back tomorrow talking all of the news that dropped today.
Hopefully more news drops.
Yeah, there'll be even more to talk about. But either way, we'll see you there. Make sure you're getting ready for our draft coverage. We're covering both days of the NHL draft. These two nerds will be on the draft floor talking all the cool people. We'll be boiling in the Vegas sun telling you who got picked and why we love and or hate them. We're out of here. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.